Three, two, one. Let's go. Okay, cool. Perfect. We're back on. And today's topic is going to be the science of metabolism, understanding how your body burns calories. Right? So, every one of us right now watching is a human. I mean, maybe a machine is watching and learning all the different words that I'm saying. The majority of you are going to be humans, are going to be watching it. And for you to understand your metabolism, we need to really take a step back and understand just you as an organism, right? You are not you, you are actually a collection of 50 to 100 trillion cells that eventually make up the tissues, the organs, the systems, and eventually you. With that understanding, these little cells are little machines in itself, like it's its own conscious little machine that needs nutrients, needs fuel to operate, right? Just like how your phone uses a battery gives it energy so that you can actually use it. Your cells also need energy. And that's where the science of metabolism comes in. So whenever you hear the word metabolism, I want you to just remember, okay, this is a way, the energy usage of the biological system. Now, the subject matter today is what is metabolism in the context of your life, in your body, and your overall. For specifically the individuals that are going to be really focused on building this habit, this is a vital habit because you've been trained since you were a baby, right? So the moment you got out of your mom's womb, you were drinking your milk, she fed you, you started eating stuff, and then as you got older and older, you created certain choices, certain lifestyles on the types of foods you eat. For example, me, I never ate chicken wings when I was like teenager. Maybe I did actually. Anyways, my point is, I love chicken wings. I can eat this thing every single day. This is part of my, if you were to list my top 5 foods, chicken wings would be there. This is a lifestyle choice that I've made, and of course, this is just my human liking of chicken wings because the flavor makes me feel good, just the whole look of it, the way you can cook it, different flavor profiles. That's just the human aspect of it. But once I put it in my mouth and it goes into my stomach, into the acid bath, becomes this little gush, mush, goes into your small intestines. I'm taking you down like the digestive system. But my point is, they break down into even smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to the molecular level. And the 3 things that most of us are made out of, most of all of life, is the 3 building blocks, I would say, is proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. So those are the 3 macros. So whenever you hear people talk about macros, oh, did you get your macros, blah, 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 that's what they're talking about. Every single one of us is made out of those 3 fundamental components that make us who we are. And then of course you can sprinkle in the different salts, the different minerals and all that, so that we can complete the whole diet. But if we were to get a composition, if I were to take you, blend you, get the mush and analyze that, that's what you would be. You would be constituents of those macros. So now, if that's what you're made out of, what does your body use for fuel, right? So that's going to be a key question. How does your body even create fuel? And so you've probably heard a lot of hype around the mitochondria and how it's important to your life and et cetera, et cetera. The marketing campaign for that has been amazing. But in reality, you don't really need to worry too much about the mitochondria. What you need to do is fundamentally analyze the organism. And if you understand how they get energy, you understand if you give it too much energy, what happens. If you take away the energy, what happens. And so knowing that is so vital to making sure those cells are properly attuned to their environment. So they've done massive studies, right? This is not just a cell for a human. It could be for any biological, right? So bacteria, protozoas, anything, any organism. You can see when you give it too much energy, what happens. When you give it too little energy, what happens. And when you give it just the amount, when you modulate that energy, what happens. And so that's the key here at Alpha that we're going to be talking a lot about. So as we're building these habits, right? So I don't know what number day this is for you to be watching this video, but whatever number day. So remember, what is our challenge? Our challenge is 1 habit, 100 days. So within 100 days, you're going to create a habit of metabolism that serves you. So understanding that the 3 macros, we need to figure out where do you have too much of it, right? So if I were just to guess, right, if I were to throw a dart at the board, I believe you might have too much fat accumulation. I might be wrong. Maybe it's something else you're watching this video for. Maybe you're just watching me just for watching me. But the fact is, if you have too much fat accumulation, then let's figure out how it actually got there. Instead of worrying too much about, oh, what should I eat? Should I take this supplement or that supplement? No. Let's take a fundamental look at the situation, and then we move forward. Then you will naturally understand what needs to happen next. So you got chunky over time, and as a result of that, you probably move a lot less, and your mind's probably a little messed up because obviously you're not happy where you are. With that understanding and awareness, now let's understand how you got here, right? So how does fat actually accumulate in the body? Let's first understand that. It's not only because if you eat fat, you store fat, but the thing is, I can pretty much guarantee you that you probably eat a lot less fat than you think you do. A lot of the foods that you eat is carbohydrates. We're told by your teachers, scientists, doctors, everyone, that you should eat a lot of carbs, and that made sense back in the day. Okay, back in the day when we needed more productivity, we needed more fuel, people were working a lot more. Now people are not working as much. Our lives are much more sedentary. We do a lot of intellect work, mental work, and so as a result of that, people are not moving as much, so we're forgetting the body. We're continuously connecting with technological devices at all times, trying to improve our lives, but in reality, we're actually decreasing our ability to move and actually get the blood pumping. This is something super deep that I don't want to talk about in this video, but what I do want to make sure that you understand is that all that fat that you've accumulated over time more than likely came from carbs, more than likely came from the processed foods that you like to eat. Even though you might go to Whole Foods thinking this is real food. If you're getting anything in a package, it has been engineered for you, right? So if it's not raw from the ground and you're not eating it, then it's gonna be synthetic. It's gonna be a chemical that you're eating, regardless if it's Whole Foods or not Whole Foods. So I just want you to be aware of that. So there's a misnomer about what is good food. Packaging, bad. Raw, whole, good. That's just what I'm telling you, because that's what we're biologically engineered to consume. Of course, for the last 100, 200 years, we've got this revolution in technology where it's getting cheaper and cheaper to make food, which makes sense. Perfect, cool, I'm cool with that. But I'm trying to get to your point is whatever you're buying from the grocery store right now, if you were to do an audit, okay, if you were to do an audit of every single thing that you buy, just look at it. If it's in a box, if it doesn't look like anything that grows out of the ground, then more than likely it's been engineered, right? Some sort of food scientist had to make sure that product is the way it's supposed. If it's a big brand, if it's just like a mom and pop shop, like a grocery local deli, then it's just like a normal making food process. Maybe your mom knows how to make it, your aunt, grandma, some family member. But the point is, everything that you're eating is processed food, and this processed food is such meticulously engineered to make sure that you get enough fuel. But what ends up happening, like I mentioned before, you're not moving as much, you're not exercising, you probably don't have a gym membership. If you do, you're probably not going, and you're not really actively doing what you need to do. Because it confuses me when I go to the gym and I see a lot of the people that have been going for years and they still look the same. So then that really triggered my thought process. So then I studied them. I'm like, okay, what are they doing? What type of exercises are they doing? And they're actually not doing what they need to do. They're just doing the bare minimum just to coast. If you can imagine what coasting looks like, they're just coasting. But in their mind, they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to the gym, I'm working out. Why am I not seeing any changes? Again, another topic for another video. If you're interested in that, definitely write it in the comments below, and I'll be able to make a new video in the future. But back to our point. You're storing all that. So let's take a look at your normal day, how much you eat. Let's just say average, if you get average calorie count of 3,000. So a good amount of food, maybe a pound of food. And once you eat it, what are you doing? Are you moving? Not. You're probably not moving. You're sitting. You're probably watching. You're probably typing, whatever you're doing. And now you're gonna be shifting all that food. The globus, the globule, and the globus. the globus. I don't know how to say the word exactly. The globus of all that food inside your belly, and now it's going to be the body has to decide what is it going to do with it. Is it going to go ahead and use it for energy? If there was a need for it, your cells are like, hey, give me more energy, then your body will use it for energy. If not, then the body's like, okay, we need to store it, because we've grown. The human race has grown through famines, through droughts, through some really shitty experiences that you probably will not enjoy right now. So our bodies had to adapt through time to accommodate this. And one of those evolutionary adaptations has been to store energy. And we've, through time, figured out what is the most efficient way to store energy in the least amount of space. And that's where the phenomenal nature of the human biology comes in. And so not only humans, but in general, just biology. Biology is such a deep, beautiful subject matter that helps us understand who we are as a human being and our interactions with other biological systems. But my point is, now that you know exactly what's going to go inside your body, how does your body store it? So it stores it as fat, right? So initially, the body will take that extra sugars and then give it to the muscles, give it to the brain. Because remember, brain takes like 20% of your blood and it gets a lot of energy. Actually, it takes 20% of your energy expenditure. So it's consuming a lot. It's a quantum machine. And most people won't understand that, but it just means that it's a very, very powerful computer that needs a lot of energy to be able to process everything that it needs to do in that given day, whether it be really beneficial to you or not even beneficial for your negative habits, but it's still going to help you do whatever you want. It's trying to preserve you and itself. After all that sugar has been used for whatever its purposes, it needs to be funneled into a new source, a new form, so that we can store it, and that's where fat comes in. So if you were to see a hierarchy of energy, you would use sugars first. That's just what we are naturally inclined to use. And then next is up fat. Fat is where that condensation of all that sugars that get converted into fat look like, and it stores it, because when you cleave it off like different little pieces of the fat, you can use that as energy for the Krebs cycle and etc. And then last, we don't ever really want to touch this, but to break down protein. Protein is, again, the structural component of who you are. Think of it as the steel rods that make up who you are. And so we never really want to break it down unless we have a really big need to. So, if you're going through a drought or a famine, or you're starving or in starvation, your body used up all the sugars, used up all the fats, and now it's like, okay, we need to start, cleaving off different areas so we can actually use energy to live. It starts shutting off different parts of your body that you don't actually need, because, again, conservation of energy. All systems in the universe go by the concept of conservation of energy. Everything is trying to always conserve energy. Every single thing is about conserving energy. So sugars, fats, proteins. That's like the hierarchy of how your body actually uses fuel. So once you understand that, now you realize, okay, so you just ate that. Let's just say you went to In-N-Out and you ate that delicious meal. As much as I love In-N-Out, it's still fast food. It's still fast food. It's engineered to be a certain way, even though, they claim to be healthy in the way. It's still, they use these large steel machines to cook this food for you. Yeah, you get my point. Now, you eat that meal. Let's just say you get a traditional double-double, you get the fries, you get a beverage. Let's just say you get Coke, okay? You get Coke. Those three things. It's in front of you, you enjoy, you take a selfie with it, you eat it, and then now once you eat it, you chew it, and as you're chewing it, all that's going inside your belly. Your stomach is burning it off, burning it into the smaller pieces, and then eventually it goes down, and then now we break it down in the small intestine into like what categories will it go to, right? So you'll have a percentage of that meal as carbohydrates, percentage of that meal as fats, percentage of that meal as protein, and a percentage of like miscellaneous other stuff that doesn't really impact your energy usage, because these are the three things, the three macros that your body needs. So now, as we were saying before, if you're already a sedentary person and you don't really have a need for all this energy, the sugars, whatever little components that we can use right now, will be used where it needs to be used, but the rest will get converted into fats as it's being processed. So now, the sugar is being converted to fat. What do you think what do you think is happening to the fats? Think about it. What do you think is happening to the fats right now? You have no need for energy. The fat's there, this exogenous fat that you took in from the environment, from the In-N-Out meal. What happens to it? yeah, it has to be stored as well. Just like the sugar, the excess sugar is being converted to fat, then eventually gets stored. Now the fat just goes straight into storage. Okay, the extra protein, you're always going through like a recycling event in your body. So the protein's always useful, but if you have too much protein, which is what, you know, the people that go to the gym and want to build muscle and everything, the problem with them is that they take too much protein at times. And those proteins at that point then gets converted into some sort of, if it could be used as energy, great. If not, it's just gonna be like a waste, because that protein will get cleaved and then eventually will go through the sugar cycle, and then it'll go through the fat cycle and get stored. And then you'll have a lot of nitrogenous compounds in your pee. So it's just like your urine will be have high levels of ammonia. I don't think you wanna enjoy that, but whatever, it happens. But my point is that in and out meal, let's go back to it. Carbs convert to fat, store. Fat converts to storage. Our protein, if it's extra, converts to storage. So it all goes to storage. All roads lead to storage. All roads lead to storage. So you're storing it. And so now this is the concept that I want you to imagine. You just bought a new car, whatever the car is. Let's just use a simple, like a Toyota Camry. That's probably one of the most popular cars in the world. Toyota Prius, actually, that's probably one of the most popular cars in the world. Actually, I can't use that because it's a hybrid. Let's go back to the Toyota Camry, where it's a regular gas, ice-powered car, internal combustion engine. You just got the car, you fill up the whole tank, okay? You fill up the whole tank, you're good. You go home, next day you go to work, and then you see a gas station, and the gas station has 20 cents cheaper gas than other places. So you're like, oh shit, I gotta stock up. So you go there, you then buy a gallon, like a 5-gallon tank, that you not only fill up your car fully, but you also fill up the tank. And then once you fill up the tank, you put in the car, and you feel amazing, you got a great deal, you go home, and the next day you go back to work, and then you drive a little bit, and then you see that, oh, it went down again. And these are like prices that normally don't come around. So you're like, okay, I need to like bulk up, I need to do like a Costco run type of situation. So you go, and now you realize that your 5-pound is too little, so you buy another 5-pounder, 5-gallon. So you fill it up, you store it, you fill up your tank, and then you go. Now, again, same thing happens 3rd day, 4th day, 5th day. So just say overall, now instead of you having only a 5-gallon tank, now you have like 50, 100, 200, 300 gallon tanks in your car right now, on top of the gasoline that's in your car when you're putting gasoline in it, plus your stuff inside the car. So as you can see, the car is now being loaded with weight, right? So there's just excess energy in that car not being used at all. Do you understand what I'm saying? That excess energy is what we need to be thinking deeply about. Okay, now that we have it there, how do I get rid of it? And that's going to be a subject matter of other future videos, but I really wanted you to understand how metabolism applies to your life, not the scientific versions that I can explain to you, but more realistically, down to earth, like me being your brother or your father or your friend or your lover, whoever I am to you, I'm explaining it to you to make sure that you understand what a day-to-day looks like as you're consuming food. All right, hopefully you found value in this, and stick around, because we're going to be doing these videos over time. Look through the playlist to see if there's any type of videos that sort of resonate with you, and then learn from it. With that being said, guys, I appreciate you. Definitely, if you found any value from this, hit that like button, and if you want to be notified when the new videos come out, go ahead and hit the bell so that you're good, and of course subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.